Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Chautauqua Sunrise is made possible by a grant from Fredonia Place, a continuing care retirement community providing dignity in a modern luxury environment. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown, Dunkirk, and Westfield, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives, to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives. From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Doc Hamels, and I am talking to you from the past into the future, I guess, because we're pre-taping today. So I'm going to do my very best to sound like I know what I'm doing and that I'm in the moment. How's that for you? Well, that'll be different, right? Because of a variety of reasons, I won't be in town, and so we arranged pre-taping of the show so that things continue on as they should. All right, I want to say good afternoon to all my listeners on WRFA 107.9, Low Power to the People in Jamestown, Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. Got a fun show in store, one of my very best and I'll say oldest, not because of age, but just because of years of friendship. One of my very oldest friends is going to be joining us here in a little while, local author. And we always have lots of fun. And we're going to try to actually make sense between laughing because we do a lot of that. It's starting already. Anyways, but things continue on with the show with this one exception. Since we're pre-taped, obviously, you can't call in and ask a question or an announcement or anything like that. So in light of that, if you do have an announcement or something you wanted us to share for next week, which would be February 19th, please call us at 753-5225 and leave a message. Whatever your club or organization is doing, happy to get it on. If you don't want to do that and you're watching this particular episode later in the week, you can email me at chautauquasunrise@gmail.com, right? chautauquasunrise@gmail.com, and send us your announcement. A lot of people send me posters, and believe me, we get a lot throughout the year, hundreds of them, and it's free of charge. You can Twitter us. Let's see, what does it say? Twitter.com at CHQ Sunrise. And of course, Facebook, we're at Chautauqua Sunrise on Facebook as well. So we have all of the social media. We're not going to be we're not streaming today because we're pre-taped, right? So we can't do that. I don't think we're streaming. Anyways, but we will be in the weeks to come. All right. So where do I want to go with all this? So I'm assuming the weather is okay today. I don't really know. Last week it was 12 degrees and cold, but when I looked at the forecast for this week, it looked like it was supposed to be improving into maybe the low 30s and that. Anyways, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I got some announcements that I want to share with you. Okay, we talked about this last week from the Cornell Cooperative Extension, and they've got cheapers. It looks like about 12 different topics that you can participate in, and it's kind of fun stuff. The phone number there is 664-9502. And I'm just going to read these real quick for you because I don't want to take up a lot of time, but there is a chart on the screen right now, and you can always go back and look at it on YouTube because the shows are there forever and ever. But here we go for March. Recognizing and avoiding woodpecker damage on your home. It's winter, but ticks are still active. So you have two different topics going on there. Those ticks drive me crazy. Brody comes in and he has a big old tick on his nose. Freaks Barb right out, but I am the tick remover, tick man. April, two different topics. Our land, our water, a campaign to protect Long Island's drinking water, and also spring cleaning in the garden. What do you do for your gardens? In May, you look at considerations for composting. I love composting. Everything goes in the composter. Also spotting the spotted lanternfly. All right, I'm not sure what that's all about, but if you're interested, they're doing that. In June, surprising ways weather affects your gardening. Also, mowing matters, giving your lawn the edge. My lawn is just cut in this subject. Identification of common garden tomato diseases in July. That's important because you got to know how to handle those situations. Tips to avoid damage by the squash vine borer. Okay, that's for July 1, 2022. Also in September, we got tackling white grubs in your lawn, scouting, decision making, and sustainable management. Shoe flies don't bother me. Also, that's in September. Let's see, October topic is fall lawn, managing leaves and ticks, which is important. And also, is that a praying mantis egg case? You see those on some of the milkweed pods sometimes. Repellents, fencing, and other approaches for managing deer damage. Where you chuck your pumpkins matters. So be careful where you dump your pumpkins in November. And finally, in December, homeowner update on emerald ash borer management. These are topics that they're going to be discussing. And creepy crawly Christmas critters that you might find in your Christmas tree. Something to think about when you're putting the tree up. All right. Soup and Sundays continues at 21 Bricks from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. or sold out. They're over there at 6654 West Main Road in Portland, which is between Ripley and Brockton. Stop by the winery to enjoy a bowl of delicious homemade soup and bread. Good on these winter days. Different soups will be featured each week. For more information, give them a call at 792-2749. Okay, we got some scholarships that we mentioned last week and we'll do again. You know, there are so many scholarships that are available through the various foundations, both in the Jamestown area and the Dunkirk area. You got the Chautauqua Regional Foundation in Jamestown, and then you got the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation out of Dunkirk, Fredonia area. So if you're in college, you might say, you know, I'm an adult going back to school. You're eligible for scholarships you may not even know about. So we're going to talk about 3 of them today. 2 through the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation, and the other one is a Rotary one. So the first one, are you an adult returning to college or attending for the first time to compete or further your education? The Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation has several scholarships available to assist you in reaching your educational goals. The Chadwick Bay New York State Women, Inc. scholarship is available to women currently enrolled in college. New York State Women, Inc.'s mission is to build powerful women personally, professionally, and politically. The scholarship builds on their vision to make a difference in the lives of working women and helps to fulfill the mission. Eligible applicants should have completed 1 semester of college with a grade point average of at least 2.5. Applicants are asked to submit an essay outlining their educational goals. If you're interested, go to nccfoundation.org for more information on that, or give them a call at 366-4892. Also, Are you in the healthcare field? The demand for healthcare workers continues to grow nationwide here in Chautauqua County. The Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation has a scholarship available to help defray some of the costs for students beginning or furthering their education in the healthcare field. The foundation is accepting applications for the Chautauqua County Home Auxiliary Scholarship. Former members of the Chautauqua County Home Auxiliary established the scholarship in 2015. Students from Northern Chautauqua County entering the field of healthcare are encouraged to apply. The committee will consider applications from Chautauqua Nursing and Rehab Center employees and their family members first. If you're interested, contact Victoria Howell Syracuse at the foundation, and the number there once again is 366-4892, and the deadline on that particular scholarship is April 1. I mentioned the Rotary Scholarship. If you go to the Westfield Mayville Rotary Club Facebook page, I've posted that there's 3 what we call district scholarships, 1,500 and 2 1,000s, and they're available to Chautauqua County students as well as the rest of the region. And on there is all the directions for applying for a Rotary Scholarship for high school seniors. Okay, so there's adult scholarships and there's high school scholarships available right now. Check it out. 2 more announcements I want to share with you. The Chamber of Commerce for the county has reminded me to tell you that they originally had scheduled Open Doors Jamestown in February. It is now scheduled for March 5. So the Open Doors is an opportunity to go to many of the venues that usually charge you an entrance fee, and they're going to be free that day. So March 5, we'll have more information on that coming up. And then February 18th through the 20th is the President's Day Winter Festival in Mayville, and they're still looking for vendors and for sponsors that you may be interested. So give them a call at the Mayville Chamber of Commerce if you're interested. That's all I have on announcements right now. See how easy that was, free of charge. We're happy to do it for anyone in Chautauqua County and the surrounding area. We're going to take a little breather, and we'll be right back with my good buddy, Bob Terreberry. Watch this. This is for you.
I'm not trained to do that kind of stuff. I never thought I had it in me. I didn't think I had the time. But then I took the first step. Is there a fire in you? Volunteer at www.fireinYou.com.
Okay, we're back, and where do I start with this?
50 years ago.
50 years ago. Okay, it was Sicily in 19.
Picture this.
Picture this. Oh my gosh, the Golden Girls. Bob, I was thinking about it on the way over here when we actually met. Do you know what year it was?
It was 1970.
Close, 1974.
Real?
Yeah, I was still in college in 70.
Were you?
I'm a lot younger than you.
I know you are.
74.
Was that when you were working at the church in Lakewood?
I was working for Posey's at the church.
You were the pastor of the church.
No, I gave the pastor a lot of trouble, but no, it was 1974.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It was at
okay.
Lakewood Methodist Church. Yeah.
Well,
You were at C.E. Smith.
But I was there 5 years.
At C.E. Smith.
Yeah.
Before
So
me.
I moved to town in 70, and you moved in 74.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
January of 74.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought that I met you before I even started with Bosse's. I thought you were, at Bosse's before I showed up.
I'm not that old.
Not that old.
Did you notice the theme of our show
No.
yet? I'm not that old.
Yeah.
Name that year.
Yeah.
No, 74 is when I came.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, so, I've known you forever, and we've worked together, and we'll get a little bit into that here in a second. But, I was thinking, I know you were born in Niagara Falls and grew up in Niagara Falls. How did you get to Chautauqua County? I guess I don't know that answer.
I went to school at Fredonia.
But why? Why did you go to school up towards that way, Niagara Falls?
I went to Niagara County Community College for 2 years.
Okay.
And then I had to I had to go somewhere.
Somewhere.
I did something.
Get rid of you.
I was still on the GI Bill, so I had to spend that money.
Okay.
So Fredonia, I don't know how, a lot of kids from Niagara Falls end up at Fredonia for some reason. It's close. it's a state school. It gets you out of Buffalo, you know. So I ended up at Fredonia. I'd say the class that we graduated with at Niagara County Community College, 10, 12 kids, went to Fredonia. So I knew somebody when I went there. It was kind of fun.
Okay, cool. And you were in the Navy before that?
I was.
How many years were you in the Navy?
4. Well, actually 6, but only 4 active service.
So then the other 2 just like
Yeah, you were on
lazy,
reserve.
just sitting around the house,
yeah.
or?
No, yeah, no. I went. That's when I went. That's when I went to college.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, so the GI Bill.
Uh-huh.
And what did you study?
I was. I was.
I have
Well,
to ask
I
that
had to
question.
find. It's either art history or no. My major was English Lit. I mean, what was I going to do with that?
English literature.
The English literature, and somehow I fell into a class at teaching.
Yeah.
I had never thought of being a teacher. Never had the inkling. Never took a course, and then I was one.
That explains a lot.
But that was a long time ago when
that's
they
exactly how it was.
when they weren't checking
It's
your.
exactly the way it was.
Yeah.
I know many people, and I was just kidding. I knew math teachers, I knew science teachers, and if you had college credits or some type of degree, there wasn't the certification for
right.
special education at the time. And technically, you weren't in special education yet, even as a teacher in those first few years, because what you were doing was more of an adjustment class,
That's it. Yeah,
and they weren't under the category of special ed. There was only like three divisions, and we won't go into all that, but it was years later, after the laws changed, that they brought you guys in. Remember?
And that's what they called it, the adjustment class. I always felt like a mechanic. Give me a wrench, I'll adjust this kid and send him out.
Right.
But
right.
that's what it was.
Yeah. So, but historically, I look back now and I remember, because I was certified special education. You were, and that's where I was, because we worked with children with mental retardation and physical disabilities and health impaired. I think it was only a couple categories, and they kept expanding it till eventually you and I worked together when we were working with children had emotional issues and learning disabilities and things like that. And that was now considered special education.
Those first years that I taught, I was also going to school too, because I had to because I had no education courses. And so when I finished my college requirements, I still didn't have any special ed, but I'd been teaching in special ed for 5 years.
On-the-job training.
On-the-job training,
Well,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. Well, Jim DePonzo, Sis Fisher, all those people, none of them were special ed certified. There was only a couple of us that were really special ed certified when I first came to BOCES. So how did you get hired? Because it's always a funny story, because I'll tell you my story, same thing.
It was Ray Pisarczyk was the guy who was sort of overseeing the whole program, and Don Longenecker, who was a pastor who became a teacher and a principal. And he said to me one day, you're looking for a job? And I said, boy, I really am. I got to get out of college. I'm 27 years old. I got to get out of college. And so I went and met with this guy, Ray, and he offered me a job on the spot. And that was in August or something. So I was...
Nothing like get right thrown into the
right
fire.
in the classroom.
Yeah.
Right in the classroom.
And I was sitting in college, and this is a true story. I always say I was in class with 20 girls from downstate New York and me. It's true. It was in my senior year of college, and a note came through, and it said, looking for one young male to teach 13 children with mental retardation. Leave note in the office. And I'm looking around, I go, talk about discrimination, one young male. They didn't say anybody. So I wrote my name on a piece of paper and a phone number, stuck it in the door frame of the office at the college, and then Jim Mangano calls me like 2 weeks later and says, when can you get down here? I said, I'm still in college. He was going to pay me to do my student teaching and everything. That's how desperate he was. And and the funny thing is, to this day, I've never been told you were hired. He just kept, his secretary used to just send me notices of where I could find an apartment or whatever. And eventually I got some kind of a, this is your job statement or something like that. But it was just, and I never knew I was a long-term sub the first year either. I thought it was my job. He never told me, you're just a long-term sub. Because somebody retired and then I took that slot. But BOCES in those days were very fun and crazy, weren't they?
It must have been difficult keeping staff. Wow. No, I never thought of it, but it must have been difficult.
So what subjects did you teach?
What, at BOCES?
Yeah.
Oh, I regular classroom, just like you did. I taught it all.
Not at all.
Whatever that age group was, as I think about it, I think every year I had a different age group.
Yeah.
I was been looking at old pictures. There's a mistake. Don't get out your old pictures. I was looking at old pictures, and here, I'm with a preschool class. I'm with a older class. I mean, every year. And then I also one day sat back and counted. I was at BOCES there for 21 years, and I bet I was in 10 different classrooms. I mean, they had to shuffle the class because they wanted.
We were all doing that.
We were all. I packed up my classroom, more than I care to count.
Yeah.
Change rooms, change age groups.
And then we had the 6 famous years.
Oh my God!
When we worked together, that was the highlight of my career there. Oh yeah, that was fun.
And last night I've been looking through old stuff. I found this magazine, and there's a quote in it from me about team teaching.
Oh.
And it said, it's one of the best.
John
things you
Hamels
can
was
do.
the best thing to ever happen.
I
to me.
didn't mention your name is not
Never.
in it.
Oh my God. We only worked together for 6 years in the same classroom, same air with our teacher aides and the
I
kids.
saw more of you than I saw of my wife
That's
and
true.
kids.
True. But it was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
We did great work.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well,
and we came out of that situation still good friends.
absolutely. Oh, I know. The story goes too is when somebody said to me, "Do you know who you're working with next year?" Because Ann Brown and I had started the team program. I go, "No." She says, "Bob Terreberry." It gave me pause. And I thought about it for a while, and they said, "How's that going to work?" And I go, "Bob and I are friends. We'll figure this out." And I remember you came in and you spread your stuff all over the place. And they said, "Bob's taking over your space." I said, "Don't worry." And I just slowly pushed it back.
Well, thank goodness we had that big room.
Yeah, it was.
So we could all bring all our junk.
Yeah, it worked
Because when
out
you
real well.
taught in special ed, especially you had stuff.
Yeah, I had
You
a lot
had
of science stuff and things
Oh,
like that. Yeah, good times.
I had art stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so we both did our careers in education, and then you went on to work with seniors.
I
right?
did.
Yeah,
I did
that
the
was great.
foster grandparent program, And at this point now, I have been retired from teaching longer than I taught.
Well, I've been retired 15 years, so I'm getting there. But yeah, it's kind of weird.
It is. It is. It is. And that teacher retirement was
It's a good thing. It's a
good thing.
thing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I remember we got paid peanuts. I mean, I remember looking at my paycheck and I compared it to people that worked in the steel mills and things like that, and we were like paid half.
Wow.
And then eventually it came out okay, but it was the pensions and the insurance and that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to do a little favor. Would you take your microphone and pinch it to your right here between your buttons? Because what's happening is you're rubbing up against it with your arm. There you go. Yeah.
That's where it was. And then
I don't know what happened.
I saw yours was over
Oh, you copycat. There we go.
How's that?
There you go. Only because I'm listening to all this in my ear and I'm here.
okay.
Okay, so after retirement, you left teaching and you went to work with senior citizens at Foster
right.
Grandparent. You were the director of that?
Yep.
How long were you doing that?
I did that 3 times. I did it for 13 years, and then somebody else took the job, and then they
Sharon
left.
Hamilton, right?
No, she was before me. I took the job.
Okay.
I just lost her name.
Doesn't
She was
matter.
on the radio all the time. She was fabulous, but her husband retired, and so she retired, and they couldn't fit anybody in. So I went back again,
Okay.
and then I did that again. So
Yeah.
I had that same job 3 times. And
And that was out of Lutheran. So,
Lutheran.
and I, as a musician, I don't know if I've told you this, I played for them for so many times. I mean, various versions of me, I've played there over the years. It's a great organization.
Oh, I was very happy there.
Yeah.
And it was a federal program, but you had to have a local sponsor, and they were the local sponsor, and they were good to us.
Yeah.
And we made them look good in the community too. I mean, we didn't cause trouble or anything.
Is that program still going?
It still is, yeah, but RSVP and foster grandparents have combined, but then with COVID, I mean,
Really put the kibosh on it all.
the grandparents couldn't Zoom into the
Well,
classroom.
no, and also they're pretty susceptible to other things,
That's the age
health-wise.
group,
So
yeah.
Okay, so then after that, what happened?
I substitute taught for quite a while.
Now that's when I would have had your head examined. No, of course I shouldn't say that. I did some interim work as administrator afterwards.
Yes, right. That's substitute.
Yeah.
You substitute administrated. Yeah.
Chris said you substitute taught in Chautauqua?
At Chautauqua, yeah, at Chautauqua, a lot. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, yes,
you
sir.
have none of these
Yep.
guys.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely, yep.
Okay.
And
And he's still smiling.
the only places I did,
Heard that he was running away from me.
the only places I did was Bemis
Mm-hmm.
and Chautauqua Lake, because I could get to them. I didn't want to drive to Silver Creek or
Yeah,
something.
that's tough.
And I did some at Bosse's. And I did the Bosse's classes that were at Chautauqua Lake.
Cool. Okay. And then outside of the professional life, you've been an actor and a director and all that stuff too, right?
And we shared a lot of this stuff
Yes.
too. I was on the school board.
Yep, I
You were
was.
on the school board
Yes.
in Jamestown.
We were presidents at the same time, I think.
Maybe-
I think so, because I remember I got in trouble with you for something or other.
But
Yeah.
one thing kind of leads to another, or your name's out there, and then somebody calls you, and
Oh, yeah.
next thing you know, you're embroiled. And I only did 12 years on the school board.
It's 16 plus.
Oh boy! But that's what you do. I mean,
Yep.
that's what I think you
Community
do.
service,
Yep.
Yep. Laura Cornell was just on last week, and we were talking about community service. And there's people that they're good at it.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
should do that. And we
Yeah.
need people to do community service and step up and run for office.
Yeah.
And even if you lose, so what?
Yeah.
Give it a good shot. Okay.
Yep.
So, and then you've been in a lot of plays. I know that.
Yeah, I did. I've counted them up. I have a little, and I even made a list. I had 78 plays.
Oh my gosh.
Some of them were just with kids, but most
Was that the
of
ones
them-
that you and I worked on?
Well, I counted those,
Okay.
certainly.
Sure. See, but don't tell. I can't.
Oh,
Cinderella.
Cinderella. It was our first.
And then we did The Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
And then we did. It was Shel Silverstein, right?
Some
So what
of
was
his
it called?
material.
Melody or Harmony? Harmony.
Harmony.
Harmony. We did that at the Reg. Right?
Uh-huh. We did
two-
Cinderella at the
Yeah,
Reg.
yeah. I tell people this all the time. I said, me and Bob, we did shows at
played-
the Reg.
I
We
played
did
the
the Reg.
Reg,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it wasn't called the Reg then. It was called something else.
Well, it was the
Palace,
Palace. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't think it was the Reg yet. No.
No.
We played the Palace.
Yeah, we played the Palace twice. Oh, that's too funny. That was a lot of work.
Oh my gosh.
But it was well effort.
Yeah.
Good effort. Good effort.
Yep. In those days, I hate to use that expression, but anything you wanted to do in special ed, you could do.
Yeah.
As long
It
as you
was-
were engaging the kids, and it was educational, and they were,
Right.
they were participating, and
Right. And we followed their IEPs. We were
yeah.
told what to do. We
Oh,
did it.
yeah.
You're at this grade level of reading. That's what you worked at. Or math or science or whatever. And we embellished and
Embellished.
enriched and enriched. Everybody did. I mean,
yeah.
it was great.
And I hope that elementary teachers do that now.
Yeah, but things are somewhat different.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit more regimented and limited, but they're still carrying on
Yeah.
the tradition. I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too. Me
All
too.
right. So then you got this idea to write your first
Well,
book.
I've always written something, you write reports, letters to the editor, short stories, poems. I did that in college, and I always did that. I did that as a little kid. I still have stories I wrote, when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. I still have some of those.
What'd you write about?
Oh, David's adventure. It's a takeoff on Lassie. The kid gets lost and his dog
Timmy,
finds him.
Lassie, come
Yeah,
home.
it's Timmy. Where are you? I'm in the well. I fell in the well.
Tell grandpa or uncle or whatever the
uncle.
characters are.
Yeah, I don't remember his name. Yeah, but it was Grandpa. It was definitely Grandpa. And so I had stories, the life of a tooth. What happens when kids lose their teeth? They go to the, it's a kid story,
Cool.
And the Pam and Peter mysteries too. I had those.
Pam and Peter.
I forget what the mystery was, but I had those. But then I've always written. So I just decided to do it.
I didn't tell you this. You probably don't know this, but when I was in like 6th grade, I started my own newspaper.
Did you?
Yeah, everything was handwritten. I
Oh.
think we charged a nickel an edition. It didn't last. I think we did it for a few editions, but it was crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy fun.
that's good.
Yeah.
You did have. Did you have a lemonade stand too?
I don't think so.
Oh, I always had a lemonade stand, popcorn.
No.
I was very entrepreneurial.
I wasn't a good salesman, but I like to write. So
Yeah, fun.
and of course I write for the Post Journal,
Yeah,
Silver Magazine.
I love that little magazine. You and Mary Short, Joe Ulrich.
Yep. He's
Turns
a
out to be my daughter-in-law's uncle. Ellie's wife.
Hold on a second. I'm going. Okay, got it. I'm back.
Her maiden name is Elric.
Okay. Well, you know, the three of us have been writing for that.
Oh, yeah.
Like 15, 16
yeah.
years or something like that.
I save them and take them to Carly so she can read her uncle's work.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And of
Very
course,
short.
and mine.
Yeah,
as
of
well.
course, of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
Those I have laminated.
I think I counted up one day, and it's like I've done like I don't even know, like 150 editions or something like that. Oh,
That, you know, I always, you know, when they always look for, and I know Kristen, and they always look for writers, and I think I could do that, but I thought the pressure, I don't know that
what's
I
a
could
month
do
to write
that.
1,000 words?
Yeah, a month.
I can do that. I do that in my sleep. I just sit down on the
know.
computer. You got to use the computer, man. All right, so then you started doing some serious writing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, you know, it's not serious. It's,
Not really.
you know, it's fun. It's fun.
Serious when you bring a book.
Yeah, but it's.
You've gone to the next level. I don't know if I can do a book.
Yeah, this. I got 3 so far, and I got the 4th on the way.
I got books into my computer, but I just don't know if I want to do the next step.
And I got short stories too. You must have short stories.
I have short stories.
Oh,
I got
yeah,
kids'
yeah.
stories. I got a great kids book, but I just can't get it out.
Yeah.
Maybe I should send it to you, and you can work on it. We can publish together.
Oh, well, I you know, there's all that stuff that's another layer, you know, all the paperwork,
That's what I'm talking about.
That's that's I got hooked up with this guy in Buffalo, Mark Pognagzinski at No Frills Buffalo, and he takes you through that. I mean, he does all that that you just said you were going to ask me to do that I'm not doing. He takes you through all that. You know, gets it printed, gets it on Amazon, in the Library of Congress, you know, artwork, all that.
I'm going to ask you a question straight up.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Oh, no. Is it worth it? It's worth it because I'm enjoying it, but I'm not making
There
it
you
money.
go.
If I said, oh, this is taking me to Cancun or something, or no.
Yeah, and I don't even know how many local authors we've had on the show. Probably 15, maybe. And some of them are serious writers. I mean, and they're making a living at it. But most people that I know, it's bringing in some income, but it's not like I'm gonna, like you said, take a world cruise on or something like that.
I got a box of books in my trunk, and I'll probably go to my grave with a bunch in the casket.
Well, I get this question all the time. They say, "You have a CD with you in the band?" I go, "No." Well, you should have one. I go, "No." And they go, "Why not, guys?" Because you have to press so many of them, and then I give them away. You would give them away at Christmas time, and there would be 2,500 in the basement.
Right.
Because I'm just not going there.
The way this works, you can order however many you want.
That's
and so
super.
I order
On demand.
On demand,
Yeah.
and and I think they print them on demand too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there must be the technology to do that.
It's all computerized
Yeah.
now, right?
Oh yeah.
See how I did a tricky little thing? How I just got you to explain the system?
And, yes, but the system worked for me.
Yeah.
And
I've heard similar.
If you go to that website too, No Frills Buffalo, he's got a lot of really interesting books available. Local writers. Dennis Collins from Dunkirk.
Nope.
Oh, he's got a really good book. Mystery takes place at Buff State.
My alma mater.
Joanne Hamiser's brother has a book
Really?
about their family. It's
that'd be interesting.
It's very good about his parents. Courtship through letters when he was overseas during World War II and that.
Sure.
It's really very, very nice. A lot of people, poets, a lot of people, Buffalo history, boxing, all kinds of things.
It's amazing how many people are writing these days.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, I've had, 15 authors on my show. And recently, I don't know if you've been up to, I'll give them a plug right now. It's called Venues.
I've been there.
All right. Well, I had
genres.
What did I say?
Where you said venues.
You're right. It's genres.
Yeah, she has my books.
Genres.
Genres.
It's at a venue called Genres. I got it backwards.
Yeah.
So Shannon was here, and there was a couple other folks, Mary Ellen and Robin, and they were promoting Genres. So they're all local authors, and there's other ones, and it's really cool. And everyone has a different style, and so do you. Cozy mysteries.
Yes.
So explain what a cozy mystery is. I love that term, a cozy. It sounds like something that I should be curling up with today.
Well, there you go. That's exactly it. Somebody I thought it was cozy. We sit on the couch, put a blanket over your lap, and read. It's cozy. You get cozy and read. Someone said it was named after, what a tea cozy is?
Oh, yeah.
It goes over the pot?
Yeah.
Well, then, you get your cozy out, you make yourself a pot of tea, you sit down and read. And
We'll see right now.
and the books have but it's a genre unto itself.
Not a venue, a genre.
That's right. It's call it mystery light, or
locale.
Locale. There's no foul language. There's no intrigue, international intrigue.
Okay.
It takes place in a constrained area, really.
I've noticed there's a theme with your titles I'm looking at. You're all stuck in.
Well, they go out. They go in one of them. They go to Chautauqua, and they
Whoa,
go different places.
way over
way
there.
across the lake.
So, but you started Maple Springs.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And there's a woman that writes a series in Lilydale. They all take place in Lilydale. There's one that they take place on the grounds at Chautauqua.
Do you know all these people?
I do not. No. But that's part of the genre. It has to be in a contained place with kind of the same people every time. The same protagonist.
Sort of like a TV show.
Well, I'm glad you said that. When I try to explain it, and I don't explain it well, I always say, think of Murder, She Wrote.
Okay.
Cabot Cove, that's where all those mysteries are solved.
Okay.
And Jessica Fletcher,
Right.
played by
I don't remember.
Angela Lansbury. Thank you.
I'm still working on a genre. Angela Lansbury.
She solves all the mysteries. She's not a cop, and that's part of the mystery. It's not cop solved. It's people in the village or in the monastery.
In the old days, they call it vigilantes. Kill the monster!
But they all have
pitchforks and fire.
It all takes place in the same area with funny characters, interesting characters. Little twists and turns go through the story. But that's the tough part is keeping those characters going over a series.
Right, and consistency.
And you can't kill them off, and you have to
And if you do, you got to make sure it's consistent with the storyline, right?
With the storyline, that's right. And what my mistake was, between my first and second book, I just arbitrarily had a 5-year period.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I couldn't do that because before you knew it, my characters are all going to be 120. So the second two take place almost right after each other. You gotta. What I did, which was really a good idea, I created a calendar.
Oh, okay.
And so I know where because I have to know where my characters are, because when two characters are talking, having dialogue in a chapter, where's everybody else? Well, you gotta make sure these people are at work. They went to Tops. She's at Wegmans. You gotta.
So you keep it really local.
Oh yeah.
So if you read this,
yeah.
If you were to read this, it'd be almost like somebody walking around Chautauqua County.
Yeah, that's right. You put your, and that's why. And so they're pretty much selling locally. Mm-hmm. Although I read cozy mysteries from other people, and they could be anywhere.
But sometimes what the fun of doing that is, and I do this with research that I do for genealogy and things like that as town historian, I have no idea where in the world they're connected to Ripley, but they're somewhere else, like Connecticut or downstate in Tennessee or someplace. So I look up the region, so I understand where they're from and things like that. So by doing this, you're sort of hauling people into your world.
Well, that's right. That's right. Into Maple Springs, and that's and then you can have lakefront adventures on the lake. I've sold, I bet, close to 100 of these at the cheese factory in Hartfield.
That little building right there. Yeah.
In DeWittville.
Yeah.
Tourists come in, and Jane, that runs the place, Jane Curry, she says, people come in and say, "Does that author have another book this year?" They want I can't knock out one every year.
All right, you're the English major now. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is it DeWittville or DeWittville?
DeWittville.
Okay.
Some people say DeWittville, some people say DeWittville.
I'm just curious.
I think it's DeWitt. It's somebody named DeWitt.
DeWitt. Yeah,
DeWitt. A person named DeWitt Clinton is probably named after DeWitt
Most likely,
Clinton.
yeah.
Wasn't he a New York State governor?
He was.
Yeah.
In Clinton's Folly or something.
Yeah.
Steamboat or steamship or something.
So I just kind of fell into it, and after reading a bunch of them by other people, I thought, well, I can put that together. So then I got the first one together, and that was Murder at Maple Springs. My books are more creative than my titles. That's Murder at Maple Springs, and then along came.
Well, murder. I tell you, when I got done reading Murder at Maple Springs, that's hard to say fast. I said, "Darn you, Bob! I didn't see that coming." You know, it's like I wasn't. The twist was like, "Whoa! How did you even come up with that?" I mean, how do you come up with the twist? I'm not gonna tell what the twist is. But how do you come up with?
Well,
twist?
you have an idea, and then it fills it in. I mean, that's not an idea. I mean, that's a lot of creativity. I mean, it does flow.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be certain, creative enough to to have an idea to get it started. And that. But when I start them, I don't know where it's ending up. I just start them, and then it kind of falls in place.
Takes a life of its own, really.
It does.
Are you happy when you get to the end and say, "Wow, I got it"?
Yeah, I am. Or I'm happy, when I know where I'm going with it, how this is going to end. This one just kind of, murder. I had no idea where it was going. I had a simple idea, but I made it come together. The other two, I knew pretty much where I was going.
All right, so book one, I read it because you always remember the first book you read for some reason, and I was sitting there reading, going like, I think I know who this is. I think I know who this person is, and even though your wife refuses to accept the fact that she's
Bonnie,
right? In the book, she says, "I'm not Bonnie." I saw her not too long ago. She said, "I'm not Bonnie." I go, "I didn't ask."
Well, that's kind of a conceit. You kind of do that, just so people think, "Oh, they're at Guppy's." Oh, and the waitress's name is Tessa, and that's Tessa Hameser.
Oh, Joe's daughter.
She's the waitress, and so you give names that are kind of similar.
You're teasing the reader big time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a vet. They just moved out of Maple Springs, and it was Tom. His name was Tom, and in the book he's Tim. You do that, and people say, and I say, "Oh no, it's all fiction." I just.
So why did you pick murder?
Well,
where was the seed for this
That's
idea?
exactly what happens there. There's not murders in these others.
Oh.
I can't keep killing off people.
That gets a little tiresome.
Well, my neighbors don't like it. Actually, my neighbors are giving me ideas on who to kill off. So.
But you have other characters that'll be like driving the lawnmower, and Alex says, "I bet you that's Bill."
Yeah. Or the sheriff. Joe Green.
Yeah. That's hilarious. But it was a good read, and I do remember, like I said, I was sitting there going like, "Oh my God, I didn't see that coming." I got halfway through the second book. I still got to finish it. I know it's been a while, but I got a lot of reading to do. I don't know. I can't keep up. But I remember reading that one and going like, where is this going? I have no idea. And besides that, how did you come up with these ideas?
Yeah, and names, and I got a lot of notes. I'll think of something, I'll write it down. I don't know. You just need you don't really need a lot of ideas. You need the discipline to sit in front of that computer and to get going, because it does kind of happen.
You said computer? You use a computer?
I use a computer. I do.
You just admitted that on TV.
I do.
I've never seen you on a computer.
Oh, yeah, I'm very good at it. Oh, yeah. Well, foster grandparent, it was a lot of computer
because I don't ever remember you being techie.
No, I'm not a techie. I don't have a phone.
It's hard to get hold of you. All right, from book one to book two, what did you learn?
I learned you got to watch your pronouns. He, she, it, they. Because who was that referring to?
You have no idea that is an ongoing discussion in my house all the time. Barbara and I will be sitting there talking, and she'll slip a pronoun there, and I go, "Wait a minute, are you talking about him or her or that one of my kids?" And she goes, "Would you follow?" You go, "No, because I follow very carefully what you're saying, because I don't want to mess up, because I mess up a lot."
Yeah, you got to really watch that, because the convention is that you go back to the sentence before and see who's a female or male, but if it's a long sentence or so I use the characters' names a lot. Rather than saying he did this and then he went there, So I learned that. I learned you got to keep track of your time, of people.
Your time frame.
And what I've done with the last two is I've at the beginning, I've indicated how long this is going to be. Like Action, the third one, there's a movie set. Movie company, an independent movie company, decides to do a film because they like the look of Maple Springs, and so I say right at the beginning of it, we only got 6 weeks to get this movie out. Oh, okay, there you go. It's only gonna be, the timeline is only going to be. It's not 3 generations, or it's not, it's not all, family.
It's
a
not
lot
historical.
Of family. No. It's got 6 weeks. You got 6 weeks to go.
And you set the parameters.
And I said, because otherwise, who? I mean, I know they're out there and people read them and like them, but I don't want to read, generation after generation, and the.
It's funny you said that about your timing and things like that. There's a reality show, and I won't go into it, but it's sort of historical. But it's not historical. What's the word I want to use? They're doing research, and it's in a particular area. And people guess what I'm talking about, but I don't want to bash anybody. But they'll say, this morning so and so was over here doing this, and later in the day, it's snowing, and then later in the afternoon it's sunshine. I go like, it's exactly that. I go like, wait a minute, how'd that happen? Or so and so was here, and they're talking, and they're in, I don't know, New York City, and the next minute they're in frame.
Yeah, right.
Like, what, they have a helicopter get over here?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's that.
That's creative editing.
It's baloney.
It's baloney. Yeah. And these cozy mysteries need to make sense too. I mean, it's not. Fancy dancy. It's making sense. It's every day things are happening. They have lunch. In one of these, the main character's name is Colin. He cleans out the refrigerator. So I mean, it's an everyday story. That has a little intrigue to it.
And you're a good writer. Okay, I'm telling you right up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go J.R. Rollins. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Right. Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Her books are thick.
Yeah.
But when I read them, there's so much detail in every paragraph. It's like what you're talking about. When you talk about emptying the refrigerator, well, there's the mayonnaise, and that was rotted. So you bring to life, and also you give a vision of what you're looking at, and I think that's such a good writer can do that.
Well, you want your reader to buy, and on the spine I put, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. You want them to latch onto these characters and say, oh boy, I can't wait to the next one. They're really nice. I like one, and I was going to libraries and talking, and so I was at the library in Ellington, and the lady said, and I was asking anybody have questions, and one lady said she hated that main character. He was mean. I thought he was a nice guy, and he was trying to help his neighbors.
Your main character's name is what?
Colin.
Colin
O'Brien. She hated him. He was mean. He lied to people.
Colin?
Yeah. I said, I don't know where you got that.
What book did she read?
I wasn't one of these.
No.
Yeah, she got that. That's what she got out of it. Oh. And so she didn't know that she'd read about him again.
Colin was a very caring individual.
Yeah.
And he really loves his wife. I remember that.
That's what somebody else said.
I've noticed there's a strong connection. He does a lot of cooking, if I remember right.
Yes, he does. Yeah. Well, she's still working. Still working. Yeah. I think in the third one, she's consulting. She's through working and she's consulting.
You talked about latching onto the characters. Maybe you've watched it or read the book, or the viewers here. All Creatures Great and Small.
No,
PBS. They re-brought it up.
Never get to it.
And I'm just like I'm all bought in. I mean, it's like wow. We just sit there and watch it, and I can't wait to see the next episode. And I'm sure that's the way your books are too. Now I noticed that your books are getting skinnier. What's going on here?
Someone who bought this one said, do I have to pay the same price for the second one that's so much smaller? That's just how it happened.
It happens, yeah.
But that's another, you asked what I learned, but I also learned you got to keep about keeping the characters. Whatever you say about them in one book, they can't be a blonde in one book and long raven hair in the next book, and whatever. You ever keep your characters consistent?
Do you have have you ever drawn your character, physically drawn them?
No.
Or get somebody to do a cartoon of them or something?
No.
That'd be kind of interesting.
That would be.
I like to see what they look like. Yeah.
Well, I should give the book to someone and ask her to
You know what I
read
mean?
it. Yeah, and then
Just kind
draw
of
what they
bring
think
him
of it.
bring him to life, you know.
He's described.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
described
That's what
physically.
I said. I can visually see him, but I just thought for your own purposes, you would have, you know, Colin here and Vonnie here and all the other characters, and you know, sort of kind of play around with them, you know, and
Yeah.
say, well, you know, he should be meaner, or he should be taller, or he should be whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I got one more book in me, I think, and then.
Then what? I don't even think about it. I don't even think about it. Something bigger.
Yeah.
All right, so I've talked to other authors that have multiple books in a series, and sometimes they'll say, it doesn't matter what order you read them, but I think you should read them in order.
That's why I'm numbering them, because people always say, well, what's the first one? Well, the first one's the number one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't matter. You could jump into these books and it would be okay, but it's so much better.
Because
I
you
think, if
kind of
start.
develop the characters,
Yeah,
and you kind
yeah,
of get
yeah.
their habits, and you kind of understand maybe some of the innuendos or the relationships with them. So how many characters do you work with in your book? Maybe you don't remember.
Well,
but
you know, I do. I kind of cheat too. Let me find. There's when I get to a lot of characters, and then I think, oh, the reader's probably having a hard time with this, so I'll make a list. So, but I make where the heck is? Well, I did make. Oh yeah, I did. And I where they're. So in this book, this movie crew comes into town, and so they're staying in different cabins. So I made a list of the characters
okay.
and the cabin they're staying in.
hold it right up for everybody.
So I made I don't know that I can find that list, but I
No,
made
no, he was
Oh,
zeroing in
okay.
on the title of the book.
I made a list of the cabins and the characters,
Oh, good
and
idea.
what the characters were, if they were the director or the lighting guy or whatever. So you know that was for the characters in the book, but it was really for the reader.
Yeah, because it's a little bit, you can
It is,
kind of get lost.
yeah.
So in your storyline, you've got Colin, who's not a cop, but he does
But
sort
so
of,
that's how he
murder.
works with them. That's
like-
how he. That's how he can solve.
he helps
He has to
Sheriff
solve
Green.
them. He has to solve them. You know, Green can't solve them.
And these are mysteries,
Mysteries.
but
yeah.
not a murder
No,
every time.
no,
Some
no.
kind of a mystery.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the first one's a murder.
Well, there is a murder in this one, but it kind of happens off stage and nobody know, and it's not really integral to the storyline.
all right.
Yeah.
So this is a murder. The second one, it says reunion. So is,
Yeah, reunion. A relative who's been, kind of.
we don't do it on the spoiler here.
Oh no, I'm
It's just
I'm
a general
trying to
talking
think.
here.
A relative who's been, ignored by the family, or he's ignored the family, shows up. So
Okay.
they have to deal with him, and
All right.
and he's blind.
Yes,
And
and
he's
he lives
blind.
next door to Colin.
He lives next door to Colin.
And he drinks,
Yes.
if I remember right.
No.
No, somebody
No,
drinks.
he
No,
doesn't.
he doesn't.
He doesn't drink at all.
Somebody drinks. Somebody's drinking.
He was a drinker, and then
That's
then,
it.
Then he got
There was
blind.
something to do with drinking. I
And he
remember.
was a cop, and he got
That's
blind.
right, he got
so
shot.
So then he and Colin are a duo.
Yes.
And the sheriff's involved too. Mm-hmm. And that's when they go across the lake to Chautauqua, because Maple Springs is right across from Chautauqua. Well, not exactly across,
Yeah,
but it's across.
close enough.
So some of this takes place at Chautauqua too.
All right, so murder at Maple Springs, union.
Family reunion
At Maple Springs.
and then the movie crew, the indie movie crew, they're making a movie for Sundance.
Sundance.
Yeah,
TV.
and I like epilogues. So there's 4 or 5 epilogues in here, and one is
And the epilogue is something that comes at the end of the book?
end, yeah.
So what's the
Yeah.
purpose of an epilogue?
Well, it kind of, for me,
Yes.
it finishes the story of some of these people's lives. Where they leave Maple Springs and then they send an email to Colin, and so they know what he's doing.
Okay, all right.
And then there's a review of they make a movie at Maple Springs.
Okay.
And there's a review of that movie at Sundance.
But you wrote that.
I wrote that. Too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and in this book too, there's like 8 scenes from the movie too.
Whew.
Yeah.
That's-
So it's a story
that
within a
seems
story.
complicated.
It is, and the next one I'm working on is even more complicated.
All right, on the cover of Murder at Maple Springs, what is that building? It looks.
That's
I don't
an
recognize it.
imaginary house with the people that lived in there.
All right, you can hold that up.
The people that
They'll-
lived
they'll zoom in on
the
that.
people that lived in there.
Turn it there. There you go.
they were-
Everything's backwards here.
One died and one was murdered.
In that
there.
house? Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. And then this is the second one. This is a picture of my house.
Your house. All right.
There we go. There we go. Well, wait a minute. Straighten it.
There you
There
go.
we go.
This is hard to do.
It's my house. And the reunion is a family reunion. Part of the reunion is a family reunion on the 4th of July. So I combined a lot of things in there. Chautauqua family reunion.
Now, you lived in Jamestown in a big old house, and
Yeah.
then you kind of moved to downsized, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and a little house in Maple Springs. What is Maple Springs? Is it just the Four Corners? or is
Well,
it,
no,
What do you call it?
Well, on the sign, or people use the word Hamlet.
Yeah.
I thought that was a play by Shakespeare. I didn't know that.
Forsooth.
It's in the village. I don't know, town. I don't know. Hamlet.
I was just
I
curious,
guess Hamlet.
because I was corrected years ago when I wrote for the newspapers that Ripley was a hamlet. Well, it's also a town.
It's
There's a township, and then there's the village,
Village.
but it's what they call an unincorporated hamlet,
Oh.
or something like that. And that's probably,
Bemis is incorporated,
yeah.
but they're in a town, the township of Ellery,
Right.
and then Bemis is the village within the township.
And Maple Springs is part of Ellery?
No. Mm-mm.
part
Oh,
of-
Ellery. Oh, it's in the town. Yes, it's in the
Township
right,
of
township
Ellery.
of Ellery.
All right,
yes,
so it's a separate
right.
little
Yeah.
entity.
Hamlet.
Yeah.
I guess we'll go with Hamlet.
All right. And how many people live in Maple Springs? You know, very many.
During the winter, there's
Six?
Irene and me. There's maybe 20, 25.
And then there's quite a few cottages and summer
yeah,
homes.
summer people. And
Kind of-
some of the summer people come during the winter, a little bit, not a lot. There's nobody there now. It is beautiful. I mean, the snow, there's no muck, because there's not a lot of cars going through there. So it's all white and shiny, crystally. It's quite beautiful.
Good. Okay. So how long does it take to write a book? And the answer I know varies, but for you, is there an average for the 3 books?
No, it took me a while to get that first one done, but once I went right into the second one, and then the third one was after that too. So, because the second one came out just as the pandemic hit, and then the third one came out at the end of the pandemic. So I was working, during that time. But it takes a while. I actually, what was it? 1st of February is when I started on the computer with number 4. So I've never known before how long it took or whatever, but that's when the first stuff is on for number 4 is on the computer.
Okay, we only got a couple minutes left. So before I ask you any other questions, how do people get a hold of your book? Where are they located?
Genre has them.
Genres?
Genre.
I'll always remember that now.
They're
Can't believe I
available
said
at
it.
Genre.
Genres.
Genre is a bookstore in the
YWCA
YWCA
in
in
Westfield.
Westfield.
Yep.
They're at Off the Beaten Path in Lakewood.
All right.
The bookshop in Lakewood. They're at Novel Destinations, the bookshop in Jamestown,
Okay.
on Fluvanna Avenue. During the summer, they're at the Cheese Factory, and they're in Bemis. They've been different places. Right now, they're at the Lakeside Art and Furniture. It's a new shop that opened right across from the Historical Society.
Okay. And can you get them on Amazon? Or
They're on Amazon, yep. And you can get them for your Kindle, too.
Ooh,
Yes.
all right.
Sometime we should talk about historical societies.
Yes, we should.
Yes.
I've had a number of people out here on that. Your friend, don't tell me, Ned.
Oh, Ned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ned Ward. We've got a minute left. So what would you like to tell people about your books? Why would they want to buy them?
Well, why would well, what people are doing, I've found out this, they're buying them and they're sending them to people who used to live in the area who have moved away or are now in Florida.
Nice.
Or they're buying them and sending them to their kids because their kids grew up here and now have moved away.
They enjoy
Or
that.
I'd say one family buy one and get it circulated.
It's sort of like an atlas in story form in a way, isn't it?
Yeah. A lady who I sent one to a friend in Massachusetts, and she has a friend there who was brought up in Olean, but used to come to Lake Chautauqua all the time. So she's excited to read. She's reading the books too.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And when you do book 4, we'll talk about it again.
I
How's that?
promise to come back.
And what's the title of that? We have a working title?
It hasn't got a title yet.
All
no.
right.
I just need one word: murder, reunion, action,
TV show.
genre.
Genre. All right. Folks, my guest today has been my dear friend, Bob Terreberry, local author, educator, artist. What else you do? You do all kinds of stuff. Anyways, we're going to do this next week, but I'm going to have a guest host on. So I'm not going to tell you what the show is because we're going to keep it a little secret. So I hope you're all doing well, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks, and we'll see you again then. All right? You take care and Have a great President's Day weekend. Bye now.